A couple of days ago, one of my students asked, Pierre, could you share a list of all the terms related to MIDI, programming, orchestral programming, and all that stuff, this big world of virtual instruments? And I was like, yeah, I do have this boring Google sheet. And I was like, yeah, maybe I could do a video. That would be way better. And I can show you in context all those terms and why do we need it. The first one is MIDI. MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. It's a technology that has been around for a couple of decades, and basically it's a way of communicating between this guy here and the DAW here on the screen. It's a powerful tool for music creation, but also performance. That leads us to the second term, which is DAW. DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation. It's a software that we use for recording, editing, and producing music. A DAW is also known as a sequencer. A sequencer can be a device or a software, as you see here. The first sequencer is the Moog synth. Back in those days, you were able to record and loop things in the device. But nowadays, we use softwares that we call DAW. And we also use what we call MIDI controller. So this is a device that you have here that sends MIDI message to the DAW. This guy also is a MIDI controller, right? It manipulates information. And what it does is that the controller, like this guy, this one here, they send what we call CC values to your computer. CC stands for control change. Music nowadays, let's say in orchestral programming, use CC11. For example, on this one here, this is my CC11. Basically, it's the volume of a patch. And we use also this one, which is CC1, to control the dynamics of samples, changing from pianissimo to triple forte with this slider here. Number 6 is VST, Virtual Studio Technology. And as you can see here in the DAW, let's pop this guy here, which is the original's felt piano. This is what we call virtual instrument. It's software based and it replicates the sound of a real instrument. In this case, a felt piano. You will hear people saying a patch. It's a preset, a sound, or an instrument setting that you have in your DAW. And of course, you can create your own patches when you start using, for example, Contact as a sampler. You can create your own instruments. This is really interesting. We're already at number 8, and we'll talk about sample. And we hear about sample libraries, sampler. What are those? Well, a sample is a short unit or segment of audio or a snippet of a song. And we basically use a sample to create instruments and to record music. Now, number 9, a sampler. A sampler is, for example, here, Contact. Contact is basically a software that plays back recorded or synthesized audio sample. And we create what we call sample library, and those are just high quality recordings of an instrument that is stored in one place and shared with the world. So we have free sample libraries, and other you have to pay. And you have access to all the instruments that you can think of, literally, of this world, and even instruments that do not exist. People just create new instruments, sample them, and share sample libraries with the world. This is also very amazing. Number 11 is velocity, and it's basically how forcefully you play a note. Let's see in the DAW here, for example, let's record something. We have this now. We just open the piano roll, and you can see the velocity down here, and you can adjust them in your DAW, right? For example, if I want this to be lower, I just click and edit the velocity, how forcefully a key is played. And it goes from 0 to 127, 127 being the highest or the loudest attack of that virtual instrument. Number 12 is MIDI channel. Let's have a look in the DAW. I have this instance here of Contact, and I loaded a couple of instruments from this beautiful library. Violins, violas, cellos, and then basses. So we have those in different MIDI channels. Channel number 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's it. So we're using one instance of this instrument, And we're just going to add track and add MIDI channels here. And just add 4, just for fun. So now I have this one here. Yes, those sounds like violins. And this is my violas. As you can see, I'm switching my MIDI channel here. I'm in channel number 2, so I could rename this guy here violas, so I just don't get lost. So I have this violins here, then my violas, my cellos, and my basses. And I could just select them for fun all together, and I could have my entire patch of those shorts. And the last one for today is MIDI file. For example, let's say that we want to record those instruments. So we have this information, we would like to share it with a friend, maybe, and we can export what we call a MIDI file. So we just select this guy, you can reduce your region here, select what's in the music, and just file, export, and you can export this as a MIDI file, and you can call it ha ha ha, cool stuff, thank you very much. And then you can share this MIDI file with your friend. You have this window that pops up and you export. So that covers those 13 terms to help you navigate in this big world. I hope it helps. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask and I'll be happy to help. Thank you very much.